The public confuses depreciation with quality. That's the gap smart buyers exploit. While everyone's chasing overpriced Toyotas and Hondas, legitimate performance platforms sit ignored on used lots. These aren't compromised vehicles. They're engineering masterpieces that lost value because of badge prejudice, not mechanical weakness. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Engineering integrity outlasts marketing hype every single time. The cars we're covering today prove it. 7 vehicles that depreciated hard but deliver the kind of durability and driving dynamics that cost twice as much from mainstream brands. So let's get into it. Number 7, Mitsubishi Outlander Sport ASX. Have you ever wondered why mechanics quietly recommend the Outlander Sport while everyone else walks past it? The answer's in the bones. This thing rides on Lancer platform heritage. That means suspension geometry and chassis rigidity from Mitsubishi's rally engineering days, not some cost-cut crossover compromise. The structure underneath prioritizes durability over marketing fluff. The 2.0-liter naturally aspirated engine is under stress and proven across multiple models. No turbo complications waiting to grenade at 80,000 miles. No direct injection carbon buildup. Just a straightforward 4-cylinder that does its job without drama. There are examples running 150,000 plus miles on original drivetrains, still pulling strong. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The all-wheel drive system isn't front-biased pretend AWD. It's a legitimate multi-mode setup derived from Pajero rally experience. You can actually lock it into 4-wheel drive when conditions demand traction. Snow, dirt roads, sketchy camping access. The Outlander Sport handles it while 2-wheel drive sedans spin uselessly in parking lots. The CVT reality check. Everyone loves to hate continuously variable transmissions, but Mitsubishi's Giorgio partnership produced one of the better implementations. Maintained properly, these gearboxes routinely clear 150,000 miles without catastrophic failure. That's not luck. That's decent engineering that doesn't get credit because of the badge. The depreciation advantage is brutal and beautiful. These lost value fast when new, which means you're buying after the collapse. Insurance companies don't see theft magnets. Parts are straightforward and affordable. Any mechanic can work on them without proprietary tools or dealer-only diagnostics. What you're really getting is rally-proven engineering at economy car pricing. The market punished Mitsubishi for brand perception, not mechanical weakness. Smart buyers recognize the difference. Number 6, Alfa Romeo Giulia Stelvio. Now here's where passion meets financial reality in a way that'll break your heart. Alfa Romeo is every car enthusiast's tragedy. Gorgeous cars, brilliant handling dynamics, and absolutely catastrophic sales numbers. The Giulia and Stelvio combined sold fewer units annually than rivals move in 3 weeks. The brand may survive in name only, but Alfa as an independent performance brand, it's finished. But here's what nobody tells you about the Giorgio platform. This is engineering excellence that rivals anything from Germany. Near perfect weight distribution, aluminum construction throughout, genuine driver feedback that's disappeared from most modern cars. When you turn the steering wheel, you know exactly what the front tires are doing. Body roll is minimal. The chassis communicates, engine options decoded. The 2.0 turbo provides real performance with 280 horsepower and immediate torque delivery. But the Quadrifoglio's Ferrari-derived twin-turbo V6 is legitimately track-worthy. That's not marketing hyperbole. That's a 505 horsepower engine that sounds like Italian passion and delivers lap times that embarrass cars costing twice as much. The reliability reality, these aren't Toyota-grade appliances, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But the horror stories are overblown. Most issues are electrical nuisances, not mechanical grenades. Infotainment glitches, sensor faults, minor trim rattles, annoying, sure, but not expensive catastrophes. The actual drivetrain and chassis components hold up well when maintained properly. Why they're dying comes down to brutal math. Alfa couldn't compete with German marketing budgets and dealer networks. Lease deals couldn't match the competition. Residual values collapsed because nobody believed in long-term reliability, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. The used buyer's opportunity is massive. Depreciation already massacred values. A 3-year-old Giulia costs less than a new Mazda 3, yet delivers performance and handling that competes with BMW M340i territory. Parts availability through the FCA network means you're not hunting for unobtainium. Passionate owner communities provide real-world knowledge and support. What you're really buying is Italian performance engineering at mainstream money. The chassis balance is genuine. The steering feel is authentic. The driving experience delivers what modern German sports sedans promise but don't actually provide anymore. The market punished Alfa for badge insecurity and sales weakness, But the engineering, that's world-class. Smart buyers separate the two and capitalize on the gap. Sharp number 5, Seat Ateca. But wait, it gets better when German precision meets Spanish pricing. Seat is Volkswagen Group's Spanish division, and the Ateca proves exactly why badge engineering creates opportunities for smart buyers. This thing sits on the MQB platform, the same bones as the Volkswagen Tiguan and Audi Q3. Same safety structure, same core engineering DNA, same billions in development costs. Open the hood and you'll see Volkswagen parts already on your mechanic's shelf. The 1.5 TSI and 2.0 TSI turbocharged engines are proven across millions of VW Group vehicles globally. These aren't experimental power plants. They're workhorses that power everything from Golfs to Audis, racking up massive mileages across Europe without drama. The 1.5 TSI is the sweet spot for most buyers. It delivers around 150 horsepower with immediate turbo torque that makes real-world driving far more satisfying than naturally aspirated rivals. Highway merging is effortless. Overtaking slower traffic happens without drama, and fuel economy stays in the mid to high 30s combined, which for a crossover this capable borders on witchcraft. But here's where the Ateca separates itself from bloated modern crossovers, handling dynamics. European engineers tuned this thing remembering that drivers exist. Steering is precise with actual feedback through the wheel. Body control stays tight through corners. It drives like a crossover that hasn't forgotten its hot hatch DNA. The interior quality reveals Volkswagen Group influence immediately. Solid materials throughout, logical layout that makes sense, infotainment systems that actually work, real safety tech like adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, automatic emergency braking, features that were expensive options on premium brands just a few years ago. Now here's the financial arbitrage that makes the Ateca brilliant. You're getting premium engineering at mainstream pricing, sometimes less. Insurance companies don't see a theft magnet like they do with German badges. Depreciation already flattened because Seat lacks brand recognition in markets outside Europe. Value stabilized years ago, which means your money stops evaporating. Parts availability is straightforward because of platform sharing. When mechanics open the hood, they see components they already stock for Volkswagens. Labor costs stay reasonable because there's nothing proprietary or overly complex requiring dealer-only service. It's German engineering without the German service bills. The Ateca proves that badge prejudice costs buyers thousands. Same platform, same engines, same safety structure as vehicles costing significantly more. The only difference is the nameplate on the grille. Smart buyers recognize that gap and capitalize on it. Number 4, Mazda CX-5. Meanwhile, everyone ignored the Japanese engineering that's been proving itself for years. Mazda's Skyactiv philosophy is simple: efficiency through weight reduction and naturally aspirated optimization, not forced induction band-aids. While competitors added turbos to compensate for heavy platforms, Mazda engineered lighter structures that didn't need the complexity. The 2.5-liter engine advantage is massive for long-term ownership. It's understressed, producing around 187 horsepower without breaking a sweat. No turbo complexity waiting to fail. Timing chains that last the vehicle's lifetime, not timing belts requiring expensive replacement every 60,000 miles. Oil consumption is non-existent because the engine isn't stressed to its limits, chasing horsepower numbers. Here's what separates the CX-5 from typical crossovers. Chassis dynamics that remember driving is supposed to be engaging. Direct steering feedback means you know exactly where the front wheels are pointed. Minimal body roll through corners because Mazda prioritized chassis rigidity over cost cutting. Actual driver engagement in a segment where most competitors feel like appliances on stilts. Build quality separation is obvious the moment you close the door. Mazda's premium push means solid materials, tight panel gaps, interiors that don't rattle after 50,000 miles. The fit and finish rivals luxury brands, yet you're paying mainstream pricing. Dashboard materials feel substantial. Switchgear operates with satisfying precision, and it's the attention to detail that mainstream brands abandoned years ago. Real-world durability proves the engineering philosophy works. There are CX-5s running 200,000 plus miles on original drivetrains without drama, no head gasket failures, no transmission replacements, no catastrophic engine problems, just routine maintenance, oil changes, brake pads, tires, and they keep going. The depreciation sweet spot is beautiful for used buyers. The CX-5 never commanded Toyota or Honda premiums when new, which means used values are reasonable for the engineering quality delivered. You're not paying the reliability tax that inflates Highlander and CR-V prices into absurdity. Maintenance reality stays straightforward. Parts availability is good because Mazda sold enough volume. No weird failure points that require dealer-only diagnostics. Any competent mechanic can service them without proprietary tools or special training. What you're really getting is lightweight engineering philosophy applied to a crossover segment that's forgotten driving dynamics matter. The CX-5 proves you don't need to sacrifice engagement for practicality. Mazda built a crossover that drives like a car, lasts like a Toyota, and costs less than both. 3. Subaru Outback. Down to the platform that proves symmetrical AWD isn't just marketing. The Subaru Outback gets dismissed as a granola munching stereotype, but the engineering underneath is legitimately brilliant. This isn't front bias pretend AWD that only engages the rear wheels when the fronts slip. It's symmetrical all-wheel drive with genuine mechanical advantage in traction and balance. The Boxer engine layout delivers benefits most buyers don't understand. Low center of gravity because the pistons move horizontally instead of vertically. Inherent balance that reduces vibration stress on components. Less wear on engine mounts, less fatigue on the chassis. It's engineering that prioritizes longevity over simplicity. Now, let's address the head gasket myth that follows Subarus everywhere. Early 2000s models had issues, absolutely. But modern EJ and FB engines are significantly improved. The problem was resolved years ago, yet the reputation lingers because internet forums never forget. Current Outbacks don't suffer the same failures that plagued earlier generations. Ground clearance advantage is 8.7 inches, which means real capability, not just a lifted sedan pretending to be rugged. You can handle fire roads, snow-covered driveways, flooded parking lots, situations where lower vehicles scrape and fail. The Outback just keeps going. The longitudinal drivetrain layout matters more than most buyers realize. Better weight distribution than transverse setups. More durable CV joints because the angles are less extreme. The entire drivetrain experiences less stress, which translates to longer component life. Ownership economics reveal why Subarus hold value better than competitors. Higher initial cost than mainstream crossovers, sure, but resale values stay strong because buyers trust the engineering. Parts are readily available. Massive enthusiast knowledge base means you're never hunting for information or support. What you're really getting is an engineering philosophy that prioritizes mechanical durability over electronic complexity. While competitors add sensors and software to compensate for weak fundamentals, Subaru builds robust mechanical systems that simply work. No fragile electronic nannies required. The sweet spot years are 2015-2019 models. Modern safety tech without CVT teething issues that plagued earlier versions. These Outbacks offer the best balance of reliability, features, and value in the used market today. The Outback proves that unconventional engineering can deliver conventional reliability. Boxer engines and symmetrical AWD aren't gimmicks. They're legitimate mechanical advantages that translate to real-world durability and capability. Number 2, Chrysler 300. American muscle meets German precision in ways nobody expected. The Chrysler 300 gets written off as a rental car fleet queen, but that dismissal ignores the engineering reality underneath. This thing is built on Mercedes E-Class bones, specifically the W210 platform. That's not cheap domestic engineering. That's German architecture that prioritized chassis rigidity and handling dynamics. The Hemi advantage is massive for long-term ownership. The 5.7-liter V8 is bulletproof when maintained properly. Timing chain, not belt, which means no expensive replacement every 60,000 miles. This engine is proven across Ram trucks and police fleets, racking up hundreds of thousands of miles without catastrophic failure. Rear-wheel drive dynamics deliver proper weight distribution and genuine performance potential. This isn't front-wheel drive torque steer fighting you through corners. The 300 rotates naturally, balances predictably, and rewards confident driving. It's drift capable if you're brave enough, which you won't find in front drive competitors. Build quality reality improved dramatically over generations. Early models had cheap interiors and questionable assembly. Later versions feature solid chassis structure, Mercedes-derived suspension geometry, and interior quality that rivals mainstream luxury sedans. The bones were always good. Chrysler just needed time to refine the execution. The Police Connection proves durability under extreme conditions. Pursuit-rated versions survive high-speed chases, constant idling, brutal stop-and-go cycles. If the platform handles police duty without grenading, your daily commute is absolutely nothing. Depreciation massacre is brutal for original owners and beautiful for used buyers. These lost value faster than Italian exotics because of badge perception and rental fleet stigma. That means you're getting a V8 luxury sedan with legitimate performance for Camry money. The market punished the 300 for being American, not for being unreliable. Parts and maintenance stay affordable thanks to truck applications. Hemi parts are everywhere because the same engine powers millions of Ram pickups. Any mechanic can work on them without proprietary tools or dealer-only diagnostics. Labor costs stay reasonable because nothing's overly complex or requires special training. Insurance surprise, despite packing a V8, it's not classified as a sports car. Premiums stay reasonable because insurance companies see a large sedan, not a performance vehicle. That's financial arbitrage hiding in plain sight. What you're really buying is German platform engineering with American V8 character at depreciated pricing. The chassis is solid. The drivetrain is proven. The driving experience delivers rear-wheel drive dynamics that disappeared from most modern sedans. Smart buyers separate badge prejudice from mechanical reality and capitalize on the gap the market created. Number one, Genesis G70 G80, which brings us to the engineering masterpiece everyone's finally noticing. Genesis represents Hyundai's 30-year engineering evolution culminating in legitimate performance platforms. This isn't badge engineering or marketing fluff. These are purpose-built sport sedans that prioritize driver engagement over cost-cutting. The G70 shares bones with the Kia Stinger, both engineered by former BMW M Division talent. That influence shows immediately. Steering weight is dialed in perfectly. Suspension compliance balances comfort and control. Brake feel is progressive and confidence inspiring. These aren't happy accidents. They're deliberate engineering choices made by people who understand performance dynamics. Engine options deliver across the board. The 2.0 turbo provides 252 horsepower with immediate torque delivery. The 3.3 twin-turbo V6 is smoothness incarnate with 365 horsepower. The available 5.0 V8 in the G80 is old-school muscle delivering 420 horsepower with a soundtrack that reminds you why naturally aspirated V8s matter. Interior quality shocks first-time buyers, Napa leather, real wood trim, fit and finish that embarrasses German competitors, costing 20 grand more. Panel gaps are tight. Materials feel substantial. Everything operates with precision that mainstream luxury brands abandoned years ago. The warranty advantage transfers to second owners, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage. That's financial protection competitors simply don't offer. It demonstrates confidence in engineering durability. Depreciation opportunity is massive. These lost 40 to 50% of value in 3 years because badge snobs won't consider Korean luxury. That prejudice creates the gap smart buyers exploit. Reliability data emerging from early models shows Toyota-grade durability with premium features. The engineering integrity took 3 decades to develop, but it's legitimate. The market shift is happening. Enthusiasts are catching on, but used values haven't corrected yet. Window of opportunity is closing. Smart buyers recognize the gap. Drop a comment with which platform you think deserves to survive. I'll pin the best counter argument. Speaking of survival, some brands won't make it at all. Check out my breakdown of 7 car brands that will soon completely vanish to see which manufacturers are running out of time.